All right, you guys. So I am going to go over another example of solving rational equations. Um, the one we just finished ended up having to solve a quadratic equation. So that's kind of what we're going to be dealing with in these examples for your assignment today. All right. So I've got x minus 7 over x plus 4 equals 2. So same thing again. Got to multiply by that common denominator to eliminate that fraction. And my common denominator is x plus 4. All right, so when I make that first multiplication step, I'm going to write it x, parentheses x plus 4, change it to a distributive property, minus, okay, the x plus 4 here cancels, and I just have this 7. Remember the previous problem, I had a binomial in the numerator, and so I put it in parentheses. Since it's just 7, I'm just going to recopy it with a 7 equals, and then x plus 4, it's not going to cancel, so I'm going to multiply it. I'm going to write it like a distributive property, 2 times x plus 4. All right, so I'm just going to multiply it out and see what I end up with. If I have an x squared term, I'm going to be dealing with a quadratic. If I have no x squared term, I'm going to be dealing with just a simple equation to solve. All right, so x times x squared, x times 4, plus 4x, bring down the minus 7, equals, I'm going to distribute this 2. So I get 2x, and then 2 times 4 is 8. All right, and so I do have an x squared term, so I am going to be looking at a quadratic, which means it needs to equal 0. So I'm going to subtract 2x. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 8 in the same step. So that brings down the x squared. 4 minus 2 is plus 2x. Negative 7 minus 8 is negative 15, equals 0. Okay? All right. Now, if you are unable to factor it, meaning you are unable to solve it using the X puzzle as you've been taught, okay, you are going to need to use the quadratic formula. Okay? All right. So if I want to get 2, I'm going to use 5, negative 3. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15, and 5 minus 3 is 2. So I get x plus 5, x minus 3 equals 0. All right. And then all I need to do here is I can solve x plus 5 equals 0. But if you remember, we can go with the shortcut of just taking the opposite of the numerical value. So negative 5 is my first answer, and 3 is my second answer. All right, I'm going to check those here in the denominator. If I plug those in and I get 0, I cannot use it. Well, negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. That's okay. Plug in 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 over 7, that's okay because that gives me 1. All right, so both my answers are good. Remember, for your delta math, you got to do curly brackets, negative 5, comma 3. Oops, and a curly bracket. All right. Now, if you understand what's going on, you can go ahead and stop the video here. You don't need to keep watching. But if you want to review on the quadratic formula, okay, I'm going to take this step right here, and I'm going to solve it using the quadratic formula real quickly. All right, so x squared plus 2x minus 15 equals 0. All right, so I'm going to use the quadratic formula. So that way you've got that as a review. Because I know for some of you, factoring is not your favorite thing to do. All right, so this is my A, this is my B, this is my C. Remember, the quadratic formula is x equals the opposite of B, plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. All right, so x equals the opposite of B would be negative 2, plus or minus the square root of B squared, so 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times C, which is negative 15, all over 2 times 1. So x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root. I'm going to use my calculator for this step. So 2 squared, oops, minus 4 times 1 times negative 15. So that gives me 64 underneath the radical all over 2. Go over here where I have some more room. So x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 64 is 8 over 2. All right, so that gives me 2 answers. So negative 2 plus 8 divided by 2 and negative 2 minus 8 divided by 2. So negative 2 plus 8 is 6 over 2, which is 3. That's good. Same answer that I got here. Negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10 over 2, which gives me negative 5, which is my other answer here. Okay, so I just went ahead and gave you just a reminder of your quadratic formula. Okay, and you should be good to go on this assignment. Good luck, you guys.